warning, the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Boobies!
Hey, Natalie.
Hey, Natalie.
Hey, Calvin.
We're tired.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yep.
All right, so thanks, Otis.
Otis!
Fuck yeah.
Beast and Jugs are tired, so...
No, like, they tried to fight us for a spot, and we won.
Yep.
All right, so we're going to be continuing talking about Randy Kraft.
I keep wanting to say Randy Blythe.
Please
talking
don't
about
say
Randy.
that. Let's not. There is something we're missing.
Yeah. The scorecard. The actual scorecard that we're actually going to go over. The one thing I put in the actual description.
Oh, son of a bitch.
It's in my messages.
How far?
I don't know. Right there. Scorecard. Right there.
That's not it.
Anyway,
give me one moment, guys. Sorry
we'll
about that.
get the scorecard up here in a second.
I'm going to grab that right now.
Oh, she's going to grab that right now.
But he didn't leave their Facebook up.
I don't leave my Facebook up. I'm sorry.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
You always do.
You always do.
I always have to close it.
You're a towel.
It really will not let me click on names right now.
Okay, you were like clicking a whole bunch of stuff right now.
I clicked on it like 20 times because it wasn't clicking.
All right.
Give me a minute, guys.
Right there. Booyah.
That's not it.
That's what you sent me.
Okay, here we go. All right, so we're going to... Thank you. Sorry, guys.
Yay.
You
Hey.
guys, eagle titties. All right, so... Following... Okay, we left off yesterday. We were talking about his relationship with Jeff Seelig, where Jeff had said, you know, he wasn't ever violent with him. And that was about a time when the murders seemed to have taken a little bit of a lull.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start off with when he came back. And this was in 1976. He murdered...
It's when he got the band back together.
Yeah, basically. Excuse me. After 1976, he wasn't known to have killed any more victims until January of 78.
Yep.
So, homicide investigators convened again to discuss the progress in relation to the manhunt for the still unidentified killer.
Natalie, I hit all my socks. Little bit. Well, you're reading that. I'm going to share out too. I forgot to do that.
Well, then...
I don't know what I'm sorry, you're reading.
You always end up looking down and it looks like you're not interested.
Oh, I'm playing Sisters of Mercy on accident. Well,
all right, so by this stage, the investigators knew that there was more than one murderer at large. Previously, in July, police had arrested Patrick Kearney, who subsequently confessed to the murders of 28 boys and young men, many of whom he actually dissected. Hey, Kisa!
Hi, Kisa!
So yeah, many of whom he actually dissected and then discarded in trash bags next to the freeways in Southern California. And Kraft, even though he did dismember some of the victims' bodies, he never really killed any of his victims by shooting them in the temple. And that was Kearney's MO. Additionally, Kearney had never tortured any of his victims. His modus operandi was significantly different from Kraft's. The investigators were certain that an altogether separate killer was still at large. And they were right. Hey, Bobby, what's up?
Alberto, I literally just sent that to him right now.
What's up, Bobby?
Bobby, I have a
I wear
handlebar mustache
flip-flops,
now.
I'm good. What's up? Yeah, Bobby, you gotta hang out again soon.
Roboito.
So, on April 16, 1978, Kraft abducted an 18-year-old Marine named Scott Michael Hughes. Hi, Robert.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, hi.
So, this is the one that I said was kind of hits close to home for me because it literally has my
On your
maiden name.
And it was found on your street.
Yeah, and it was found right there on the street.
He was found on your street.
Yeah. So the victim's name is Scott Michael Hughes. Hughes was given a lot of Valium. And then Kraft split him open. Split open his scrotum, actually. And removed one of his testicles.
You know, that's how... There's two people combined with that. You know that, right? That's how it's...
Stitching.
It's the stitching. That's where they stitch guys up when we're being made. Because we're actually two people put together.
Fucking Family Guy. So I'm really freaked out that this line down my scrotum means that I'm two people stitched together in one. That's a bit creepy. I don't know. Maybe I should do this again. Trigger warning. So, Kraft split open his scrotum, removed one of his testicles, and then strangled him to death with a ligature before discarding his body fully clothed, missing one of his shoelaces. Oh, excuse me, both of them.
Yeah.
Beside the freeway on-ramp in Anaheim, and this was the on-ramp going from Euclid onto the 91.
Later on, after this, Kraft did move on to become the Mighty Ducks manager. And...
No. None of that happened. Jesus. Let's not. So, 2 months later, on June 11th, the body of 23-year-old Roland Gerald Young was found near San Diego Freeway. Young had been emasculated before he was stabbed to death. Little bit!
Little bit!
What's up? Wait, clicked on the wrong one. God, they come through fast.
That's what she said.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's a good thing to... That's what she said. So, he had abrasions on his body that indicated that he was thrown from a moving vehicle that was traveling at high speeds. And 8 days later, the body of a 20-year-old Camp Pendleton Marine named Keith Allen... Excuse me. I went dyslexic. Richard Allen Keith was found discarded beside the road in Moulton Parkway. Welts on his wrists indicate that he had been bound before he was strangled with a ligature. Froth in his throat indicate that he was drowning as a result of fluorazepam and alcohol that he had consumed at the time that he was strangled.
There's one thing here that actually does kind of show that he did have an accomplice. You cannot drive a car and then throw someone from the passenger seat.
Yeah.
You know, it's physically impossible.
I've said several times that there's definitely other people that have been helping him. I think it's more than one accomplice.
It was his ex, and then he probably groomed his new boyfriend into helping him.
Maybe. I mean, I really don't think that he did any of this by himself.
Oh, well, look at Dean Coral.
Well, but look at the last victim that was found in Huntington Beach, where they had 2 sets of feet, like footprints, in the sand, and there were drag marks. So,
yeah,
the guy was already dead.
He was.
Wasn't he decapitated?
Yeah, yeah.
So
it's not easy to drag a dead body from somewhere. Not that I know this from experience. I'm just saying.
So, 3 weeks after the murder of Keith, on July 6th, Kraft killed 23-year-old hitchhiker named Keith Arthur Klingbeil. Klingbeil had ingested large doses of paracetamol. I'm not really sure what that is, to be honest. And alcohol before he was strangled with his own shoelace. His body was discarded beside the 5 freeway. And although Klingbeil was still alive when discovered, he died shortly after he went into the hospital, Mission Community Hospital. A subsequent autopsy revealed that prior to his strangulation, his left nipple had been seared with a car lighter.
That's another one of his MOs right there. It's just what he had on hand.
Sorry, I have an itch here.
Yep.
So 2 months later, on September 29th, now mind you, this is getting back into like berserker mode.
Yeah, well, serial killers do take their time off. Some of them will go for years and years and years.
He went about 16 months.
Year and a half.
So, 2 months later, on September 29th, the body of 20-year-old Richard Anthony Crosby was found discarded 200 yards north of Highway 71 in San Bernardino County. Crosby had disappeared the previous day as he hitchhiked home from a theater in Torrance. He died of suffocation. His left nipple had been mutilated with an automobile lighter. The last known victim claimed by Kraft in 1978 was 21-year-old Long Beach truck driver Michael Joseph Eiderbeiten. Inderbeaten?
I'm sorry.
Inderbeaten, whose castrated body was found beside the San Diego freeway on November 18th, 1978. In addition to having been castrated, he had been violated with a foreign object, suffered burns similar to those inflicted upon Mark Hall 2 years previously. And if you guys don't remember what that was the lighter.
Yeah.
Over and over and over again while he was hung upside down.
Yep.
And the official cause of death was listed as suffocation.
All right, let's get some
Yeah.
real fast. That makes me hurt. I got 2 of those.
I'm guessing it's the lighter.
Yep.
So you would have to
Hello,
have
Rebecca.
2 people or even 3. Someone has to drive, the other has to open and shut the door, and they would both have to push him out of the truck.
The body count,
Yeah.
the suspected body count alone, the fact that he had 60 or roughly almost 70 kills under his belt, shows that he had someone helping him. It's hard to do stuff like that. I mean, the Green River Killer, Gary Ridgway, was one of the few serial killers who had a lot of them.
So a little bit says, I suffocated him with my boobs.
Oh yeah, it's really, really hard to do that. Like Dean Coral had a lot of in Texas. He had a lot of kills under his belt, but he also had 4 accomplices too.
I didn't mean to violate him that bad.
Yeah.
No, I got 2 nips. That's what she meant.
Oh, for like lighters, okay.
I'm like, cool. Also, there has to be a lookout. That's
Yes.
right, Rebecca. I agree.
Because he did all of his stuff out in public mostly, or not public, but he did it out in the woods and stuff like that.
No, it was pretty public.
I thought it was mostly like woods and back roads and stuff.
No. That's what we said yesterday,
you're right. Yeah, you're
was
right.
that he was pretty forward with a lot of it.
Yep.
I mean, he even went as far as to find those 2 in the parking lot that were hanging out with their friends, invited them into the car, and he let one go, just inebriated, and then the other one he murdered.
A little bit. Otis
Oh,
was
this is my lookout. So, some later murders. Kraft was not known to have killed again until June 16th, 1979, when he abducted a 20-year-old Marine named Donnie Harold Kressel. His body was thrown from a moving vehicle onto the 405. The cause of death was listed as acute alcohol poisoning, although and there were rope burns and burn marks, and he had obviously been bound and tortured prior to his body being discarded.
Mm-hmm.
2 months later, on August 29th, the dismembered body of an unidentified male, estimated to be somewhere between 18 and 30, was found placed in 2 trash bags behind Union 76 gas station in Long Beach. The entry on the scorecard simply read 76, is believed to refer to this victim, although only the head and torso and left leg were ever found. This victim, like several others, had a sock jammed inside of his rectum. 2 weeks later, September 14th, the body of 20-year-old Gregory Wallace Jolly was found in Lake Arrowhead. Think about that next time you drink Arrowhead water.
Yeah.
Jolly had been emasculated, and his head and legs had been severed after death, but he was emasculated before death. His personal possessions were later found at Kraft's home. You thought I was going to say up his ass.
You know, are you saying that's where we are going here? That's what he did. That was his MO. Especially, was it Rebecca yesterday who brought it up? And Ashley.
By the way, your mustache is rocking today. Kelly, what's up?
Yeah. Thank you.
That boy shouldn't have been smart with me.
That was that was his MO with so he can keep the leakage from happening.
What's up, Calvin?
Died smiling.
Yep. Well, because Little Bit is strangling them with her boobs. Alright,
we can't show this picture either. They got a picture of one of the victims. Or is it no?
Yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, he had... Okay, I'll get to that in a second. So on November 24th, 1979, a 15-year-old Santa Ana boy named Jeffrey Sayer is believed to have been abducted and murdered by Kraft. Sayer was last seen at the bus stop in Westminster as he traveled home from a date with his girlfriend. The entry, Westminster date, on Kraft's scorecard is referring to him. On February 18th, 1980, the decapitated body of a 19-year-old Marine named Mark Allen Marsh was found near the Templin Highway. Marsh was last seen hitchhiking towards Buena Park, which was my stomping grounds growing up.
I didn't realize this was not done on purpose. The band Kraft.
That's funny. His hands had also been severed after death.
Wow.
Go ahead.
I did not mean to wear the band Kraft shirt. It's spelled differently.
It's pretty funny.
C-R-A-F-T.
So, now we're getting into some of the murders in Portland.
This is actually where he gets sloppy, because this is where they started realizing when he went to Portland to do stuff, they're like, these guys, this is not something that happens over here.
I think I want to get to the scorecard soon.
Yeah. Let's just talk about the Portland murders and we'll get to the scorecard.
So in the summer of 1980, Kraft traveled to the neighboring state of Oregon as part of a contractual assignment delegated to him by his employers. Throughout the duration of his deployment, he resided in a town close to Portland before he returned back to California in August. He's believed to have claimed 2 more victims while he was in Portland, both of whom were listed on his scorecard with cryptic references, including the word Portland, which the first victim was 17-year-old Denver youth named Michael Sean O'Fallon. He was killed on July 17th. O'Fallon had been hitchhiking by himself across the U.S. and Canada prior to his enrollment in college at the time of his murder. He was given alcohol and Valium before he was strangled to death. There is a nude, hog-tied, or there's a photo of him here, but he was found hog-tied, naked, and discarded 10 miles south of Salem. He was listed on the scorecard as Portland, Denver. The following day...
Oh, he actually used... Oh, no, he's from Denver, sorry.
No, his...
Yep.
Yeah. The following day, he's believed to have killed a man estimated to be somewhere between 35 and 45, which was not usually his M.O., whose body was found beside a freeway in the city of Woodburn, which, by the way, is the place I was looking at for us to move originally.
Yeah.
Because their cost of living there is not bad.
No, actually, Oregon's cost of living is actually pretty low, with the exception of Portland.
Yeah.
Portland is astronomically high.
So...
you think even higher than San Francisco.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, the victim was listed as Portland Elk on the scorecard, and he had ingested a toxic level of Tylenol and Valium before he was strangled to death. That's a lot of Tylenol.
You know, another thing, too, this is telling of the times, like, in the late 70s and early 80s, people, the vast majority of these people were not, they were partying with him. They were taking those pills willingly.
Yeah.
And they just mixed everything together, and he just kept handing it to him and let him do it.
Yeah.
So...
Here we go. Oh, wow. So, on September 3rd, 1980, a month after his return to California from Oregon, the bound body of a 19-year-old Marine named Robert Loggins was found discarded in a trash bag located close to El Toro Marine Base.
Is he,
No, he's not.
He's not related?
Nope.
He's not?
Nope.
Not one bit, are you sure?
Yep.
You telling me he's not related to
He
Mr.
is not.
Top
It's
Gun
spelled
himself,
different.
Kenny Loggins?
It is spelled different. I was trying to stop you.
I've been through the danger zone or some shit. I don't know.
Anyway.
I tear up every time I hear that song. It's so cool.
So, Loggins was last seen alive with 2 fellow Marines close to PCH on August 23rd. Photographs and the negatives subsequently found in Kraft's possession depict Loggins in Kraft's living room slumped fully clothed on his sofa, apparently intoxicated.
You can't show that.
Why not? He's not naked at all.
I can't show that. Look at the... He's peed himself and everything.
Okay.
Or not showing that.
There's literally nothing showing.
I
in
know.
That picture.
Let's just not even take a chance. There's a picture of him. If you guys want to go look, just look it up.
So, then there are more photos with pornographic postures. All these pictures are depicting Loggins with his eyes closed. So, they're not really sure if he was dead or alive when this was taken.
Yeah.
On April 10th in 81, the body of 17-year-old Michael Cluck was found beside I-5, close to the community of Goshen, Oregon. Cluck had been abducted as he was hitchhiking from Kent, Washington to Bakersfield, California.
Son of a bitch.
The day prior to his body being discovered, he had been killed by 31 blows to the head, each inflicted by a blunt instrument, which had destroyed the rear of his cranium. In addition, Cluck had been sodomized, and his body had been savagely beaten, kicked, and scoured. He is believed to have been recorded on the scorecard as Portland blood, due to the extensive amount of blood and debris found at the murder scene. At the time of the murder, Kraft is known to have again been deployed by his employer to Oregon. In addition, on the day of Cluck's body's discovery, Kraft is also known to have visited Lane County Hospital to receive treatment for a bruised foot. Echo Park.
It's a
little bit, you're awesome.
I don't mess with behinds. That's funny.
Did he keep stuff from the victims? Yes.
Yes.
He was taking Polaroids.
It was mostly Polaroids and stuff like that.
No, it wasn't just Polaroids though. He was keeping items.
I thought he did.
Shoes.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Stuff like that.
But his main thing was his scorecard, which is the reason why they called him the scorecard killer.
Yep. So, by early 82, the relationship between Kraft and Selig had become marred by lots of fighting. And they decided to have a temporary separation. In an effort to resolve their personal differences, the couple began attending weekly counseling sessions in Huntington Beach. These sessions began on the 22nd of June in 82. Following complaints from residents of Echo Park regarding the foul odor emanating from the direction of the Hollywood Freeway, though, on July 29th in 82, a Caltrans employee found the badly decaying body of a 14-year-old Pittsburgh boy named Raymond Davis, discarded along the Rampart Boulevard off-ramp. Rudimentary efforts had been made to conceal Davis's body beneath leaves and soil. He had last been seen alive in Echo Park on June 17th, searching for his missing dog. His wrists had been bound behind his back, in much the same manner as Michael O'Fallon had been 2 years prior, and he had been strangled to death with his own shoelace. The entry on the scorecard is called Dog.
A little bit. Are all these people guys? Yes.
Yes.
They're all men. He was gay.
Yeah. So Kraft is not known to have killed again until November, when he abducted and murdered a 24-year-old Modesto man named Arnie Mikhail Lane. Lane was last seen hitchhiking towards Orange County in search of work. His body was not found until January of 84. It was discarded on a hillside close to the town of Ramona. 4 weeks after Lane's murder, the semi-nude body of a 26-year-old named Brian Witcher was dumped from a moving vehicle along the 5 freeway close to a city called Wilsonville in Oregon. Witcher had ingested high levels of both Valium and alcohol, but he died of asphyxiation. So, on December 3rd of 82, 29-year-old carpenter named Anthony Jose Silveira disappeared while hitchhiking towards Medford. His body was found 2 weeks later, strangled, sodomized, and bearing evidence of having been violated with foreign objects prior to his murder. At the time of the murders of both Witcher and Silveira, Kraft was again known to have been in Oregon on a business trip, which concluded the day of Silveira's death. On December 4th, Kraft is known to have driven from Portland to Seattle to visit some friends. Throughout this brief visit, he was observed wearing a military jacket inscribed with the name Silveira on it. On December 5th, Kraft flew from Seattle to Grand Rapids, Michigan, on business. So, 2 days after his arrival in Grand Rapids, Kraft encountered cousins Dennis Alt and Christopher Schoenborn as the trio attended a seminar in the Amway Grand Plaza Hotel. Kraft was observed conversing with the pair at the reception area of the hotel shortly before midnight. Their bodies were discovered on December 9th in an open field close to the hotel. Both victims had been given lots of Valium and alcohol prior to them being sodomized and murdered. The bodies had been arranged in a sexually suggestive position. Alt was 24. He had died of asphyxiation. And Schoenborn was 20, and he had been strangled to death with his own belt. In addition, a ballpoint pen had been inserted into Schoenborn's urethra prior to his murder.
Oh, dear God.
Both victims were recorded upon Kraft's scorecard in a single entry, GR2. A set of keys belonging to Schoenborn, plus Silveira's military jacket, were left by Kraft in the hotel. On December 8th. Now, see, this is how he's getting really sloppy.
Yeah, he's doing two people at once, basically. He made this mistake before, and it almost got him popped. Which is actually when he did.
Well, that's not what I meant, actually. I'm talking about he left the jacket from Silveira, and he left the keys from Schoenborn. Hey, Tom, what's up?
Tim! What's going on? Oh, crap, I forgot to send it back to Tom. I really did. I normally send it all out. Ugh.
So...
But Tom showed up anyway.
On December 8th... Well, you know what? Let me play a commercial real fast.
Yeah, let's do a commercial real fast.
Let's do this one. We'll be right back.
We're back.
Hey.
Yay.
All right, so... Okay, so on December 8th, Kraft traveled from Michigan to Portland. Within 24 hours of his return, he killed a 19-year-old hitchhiker named Lance Taggs. Taggs had last been seen hitchhiking from Tigard to the home of a relative in L.A. His body was discovered the following day, discarded along Clackamas. It was a road in Clackamas County.
Well, I don't know where that's at.
That's in Oregon.
Hi, Sykes!
Close to where the body of Witcher had been found just 2 weeks earlier. As had been the case with Alt and Schoenborn and Taggs, they had all been given Valium and alcohol prior to their murder. Although Taggs had died of suffocation caused by a sock thrusted into his trachea.
See, he changed up his MO.
What's up, Sykes?
Tom said what I said too. The skull sounds like it says "alar." I was like, right?
Oh yeah, Otis is seeing that he's not seeing the comments either. You know what I usually do is I make him go away and then make him come back.
Or back out and then come back in. That's how I get him to work too.
What's up? I want spaghetti. He had to have had help with killing 2 people, even if they were doped up. They still would have fought him. Well, on Valium, not necessarily fighting them, but for me, it's the whole dragging them. places.
Yeah.
So, noting the passage of time between periods of activity when bodies of young men were found discarded near mass transportation with alcohol and or pharmaceuticals in their bloodstream in Oregon, investigators there theorized that their killer resided in another state and struck in Oregon only when they're on business. Following the murders of Silviera, Witcher, and Tags, Oregon investigators relayed details of the murders to police in other states, describing the modus operandi of the killer that they were seeking and requesting feedback from any other police forces who possibly had unsolved murders of young men with very similar characteristics. A response from Southern California counties was swift. The pattern of killings was identical to victims linked all over California. And then the 6 Oregon murders committed by Kraft were thus linked to the murders that had been committed all over California.
This is finally when California took it seriously, or LAPD and stuff like that took it seriously.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, mind you, this has already been a span of almost, 10 years?
Yeah.
In 1983, it started in 73. And
76, I think.
76 or whatever. But this is when LAPD finally was like, all right.
It took forever for them to actually take it seriously.
But Oregon, the troopers and all that there, they literally were like right on the top of it. They were like, no, there was something going on here. Regardless of their sexuality, we still need to look into this and make sure what's going on here.
Well, so Kraft didn't kill again until January 27th of 83, when he abducted a 21-year-old hitchhiker named Eric Church. Isn't that the name of some country singer?
I don't know.
The victim was last seen alive hitchhiking from Orange County to Sacramento the day prior to his murder. His body was found discarded along the 605. An autopsy concluded that Church had ingested high levels of alcohol and Valium and then been sodomized. There were rope marks on his wrists, indicating that he struggled against his restraints before he died, of a combination of ligature strangulation and numerous blows to the side of his skull inflicted by a blunt instrument.
A little bit. Are you two hanging out after the show? Yes, my boobs hang out all the time.
Tom, I actually have a dog walk to go on.
I'll be here.
But, yeah. So, final murder and arrest. Should I go into the scorecard first?
No, let's do the final murder and arrest because this is actually pretty fucked up.
Here we go.
He was...
At 1:10 a.m. on May 14th, 1983, 2 California Highway Patrol officers observed a Toyota Celica driving erratically on the I-5 in Mission Viejo. Observing the vehicle perform an illegal lane change, the officers suspected that the driver was drunk. They signaled for the vehicle to stop. The driver slowed the vehicle to a halt and exited the car, discarding the contents of a beer bottle onto the pavement as he did. Officer Michael Sterling met the individual, who identified himself as Randy Kraft, at the front of his patrol car and observed that his jeans were unbuttoned.
Wasn't just that. Sterling
had Kraft perform a sobriety test, which he failed. Sterling arrested Kraft for drunk driving. Sterling's partner, Sergeant Michael Howard, approached the Celica and observed a young man slumped with his eyes closed in the passenger seat, partially covered by a jacket.
Arms.
Several empty Moosehead beer bottles and an open prescription bottle of lorazepam.
I told you, Tom, not to drink that shit.
Tablets were strewn all around his feet. Howard attempted to wake him up but didn't get any response to his verbal efforts. Howard attempted to arouse the man by shaking his arm, only to note that he had a low body temperature. Upon feeling for a pulse, he had noted that the man was dead, with ligature marks visibly encircling his neck. Lifting the jacket from the victim's lap, he noted that the victim's jeans had been opened to expose his genitalia. In addition, the victim's hands had been bound with a shoelace and his wrists bore evidence of welt marks. Later identified as Terry Lee Gambrell, a 25-year-old Marine stationed in El Toro, the victim had been strangled to death. Kraft was initially charged with driving under the influence of alcohol and was held in custody as detectives conducted a thorough search of his car. Upon the rear seat of the car, the investigators found a belt, the width of which matched the bruising around Gambrell's neck. Other incriminating evidence, including alcohol, tranquilizers, various prescription drugs, and stimulants. The passenger seat and carpet of the vehicle were heavily bloodstained. Gambrell had no open wounds, though. So the upholstery was removed for forensic analysis, the results of which confirmed the blood was human. Beneath the carpet, investigators discovered an envelope containing over 50 pictures of young men in pornographic poses. Many of the subjects in the pictures appeared either asleep or dead. Inside the trunk, investigators found a ring binder containing a handwritten list of coded notations.
Actually, so this is where the notes were messed up. They actually found it underneath.
That's not the scorecard.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. They found a scorecard underneath his floor mats. That's where he always kept it.
That's what they just said.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm not even listening. I'm sorry.
You're really not listening.
I apologize. But they actually did say too he was bound and all sort of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So let me get to where I'm going to say I'm sorry. When the cops asked him, what's with your friend? It was like, and he's all, I don't know, see for yourself. That's how nonchalant he was about it. Like when it was literally like, I don't know, see for yourself, and he was dead, and it was like whatever, I got caught. Who cares?
Basically, yeah. So a search of his home revealed further incriminating evidence, including clothes and personal possessions of numerous young men that had been murdered over the last decade. Fibers taken from a rug matched those upon the victim, Scott Hughes. In addition, the couch in Kraft's living room was identified as the one that was in the photographs in the car. A roll of film discovered also depicting victims Eric Church and Roger DeVault sat in the car. One of these images clearly depicted ligature marks on DeVault's neck. So, the coded list of 61 neatly printed terms and phrases found in Kraft's car is believed to refer to each of the victims. Many of the entries appear pretty innocuous, but each of these is believed to refer to a specific number or a double murder. Excuse me, a specific murder or a double murder. Several entries clearly refer to victims' names. For example, the entry EDM, Edward Daniel Moore. Vince M refers directly to Vincent Mestas. In other instances, entries indicated the torture or the mutilation that was inflicted on the victim, and the places that they were last seen. So, like
76.
Marine Head BP.
Yep.
That was when he was in Buena Park.
Mm-hmm.
For example, is believed to be Mark Marsh. He was a Marine. He was decapitated, and he was hitchhiking towards Buena Park. So other entries simply refer to the body dump locations, like Golden Sails. That was Craig Jonitis. Or some of the entries are very minimum, like the double murders GR2, and that was Dennis Alt and Christopher Schoenborn. So I'm going to actually pull up the scorecard here.
Mm-hmm.
This might be our entire rest of the thing.
Yep.
All right, so here we go.
You want to just go through the names because we basically have already discussed the murders. We just
No, I have to.
Oh, okay.
So Stable, October 5th. So the first word is going to be the cryptic word. The victim is going to be next, and then I may have a few comments about it.
Yeah.
So Stable was referring to the.
Oh, we got it.
I will. Gosh. Okay. So for the record, we found this information on thoughtco.com. So again, Stable is referring to his first known victim, Wayne Joseph Duquette, and that was because he was a bartender over at the Stable, at the bar that was next to where Kraft worked, actually. So his body again was found nude in South Orange County, at the bottom of a ravine on Ortega Highway. He was killed September 20th. Cause of death was officially acute alcohol poisoning, but yeah. So Angel, they never found a connection. EDM, Edward Daniel Moore. He was a Marine that was based in Camp Pendleton. That was December 26, 1972. Cause of death, strangulation. He was found on the off-ramp of...
The 405 going on to the 605, wasn't it?
No. But it was... Well, yeah, it was 405 and 605 freeways in Seal Beach. He died 3 days before being found. Cause of death was strangulation. A sock was found inside his rectum. He was beaten in the face by a pipe, possibly. Dumped from a moving vehicle. There were ligature marks on his wrists and ankles, and there were deep fingernail scratches on his testicles, bite marks on his penis, and he was redressed. Harikari, there was never a connection made to that one.
Mm-mm.
Airplane Hill, that was the one that was found in Huntington Beach. He was found nude. He's a John Doe. He was somewhere around 18 years old, and this was February 6, 1973. So cause of death was either blood loss or suffocation. There were ligature marks on his wrist. He was sodomized and emasculated prior to death. And I don't know why it says he was redressed, because he was found naked.
Don't know.
Marine Down. They never found who that was. Van Driveway. No connection. 2-in-1 MV2PL. No connection.
So, quick question real fast.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere on here that it says that this list was actually written in all of his handwriting, or was there multiple handwritings?
It was shown to be in his handwriting.
Okay. Because also this might also be more telling that there were more people there too, with the fact that he was just with like the ones where it was like Marine Down and there's no connection, nothing, like they don't exactly know what's going on with that one. There might be other people involved in these killings. This came back the night and was like, hey, I killed this person, and he just wrote it down in his scorecard.
Maybe. So Twiggy. This is James Dale Reeves. He was 19. He was the one that was taken from Ripples. And that was his partially nude body was found in Irvine off the San Diego freeway. Cause of death was undetermined. There was a 3-inch round branch protruding from his rectum.
Wow.
And his body was posed in a Y position. Vince M. We discussed that one earlier. December 29th, 1973. Vincent Cruz Mestis. He was 23 years old. He was a Long Beach State University student.
Kraft lived a few blocks down from him.
Yeah, Kraft didn't live very far from him. His body was found at the bottom of a ravine in the San Bernardino Mountains, and he was strangled. His face had been shaved. There was a sock in his rectum. A stick or pencil had been forced into his urethra. His genitals were mutilated. His hands were cut off. And he was redressed except for his shoes and one sock, which they found.
For him to actually go and do that, just where he's only, it's in his neighborhood. It's literally in his neighborhood. And that was more of a I need to kill right now. I need to get this over with. I need to get it out of my system. And he did it, and then that was that. Because usually, I mean, they do stick to a certain area, but not to be so close to them, though. Oh my God, they were Code Blue. Yeah, TSOL Code Blue.
Never got along with girls at my school. Okay.
TOSL?
TOSL. Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry.
TSOL.
I was just meant to be Sykes.
So February 6th, he said, the next day is an awesome day.
Yeah.
And Kisa said that her grandfather's birthday is also February 7th.
Oh my God, Kisa. There's at least one other person in here right now that has a February 7th birthday. That's me. I don't know about Tom Nally here. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, Tom. Tom and me have the same birthday.
My mom's birthday is April Fool's Day.
Liz's mom's birthday is April Fool's Day, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It was either that he was there when they were killed, maybe somebody else did it in his group,
Yeah.
I am more and more convinced the more we look into all these serial killers that the majority of them do it in teams.
A lot of these serial killers are actually abused as children, and when they're sexually abused, physically abused, verbally,
That's not an excuse.
I'm getting to the point here. They tend to, it's like lycanthropy. It's when you are sexually abused as a child, you tend to branch out and do it to others as an adult and stuff like that. You tend to, and that's the vast majority of people who are abused as a child actually don't do that, but there is a tendency there, and especially with people like this, so they actually groom other people to help them out.
Oh, hey, Sykes' birthday is next month on the 12th.
Okay.
Okay, one day I'm going to find out how you guys are putting the emojis by comments. I don't know.
There's a little button right below. I'm just kidding.
Happy early birthday, my tree stalker. Okay, so Wilmington, February 6th, 1973, a John Doe around the age of 18. He was found naked off of the Terminal Island Freeway in Wilmington. Cause of death, possibly strangulation. There were ligature marks around his neck, and a sock was found in his rectum.
Are they saying possible because there's a lot of decay here, so they can't
Yes,
exactly
this
tell?
guy was very badly decayed.
Yeah.
The victim was recognized by some as a prostitute who actually worked around the Belmont Shore Bluffs. LB Marina, there was no connection made to that one. Pier 2. This was Thomas Paxton Lee. He was 25. He was from Long Beach. He was found August 3rd, 1974. His body was found down an embankment in the Long Beach harbor. Cause of death was strangulation.
You know the crazy thing now? There's no way you can hide bodies over there now. It's so well grown up.
Oh, yeah.
There's just so much people over there. So much. Long Beach has about over 400,000 people.
So
it's huge now.
Lee would often cruise Granada Beach and Belmont Shores Bluff looking for one-night stands. Diabetic, no connection. Skates. This was John William Laris. He was 17. He was actually...
He's the one who came in on skates.
He was carrying skates.
He was carrying skates.
And this was another one that was taken from Ripples. Mm-hmm. And cause of death was strangulation. And this is the one that had the surveyor's stick shoved into his rectum. Portland, no connection was made to an unsolved case. Navy White, no connection was made to any unsolved case. User, no connection was made. Parking lot, May 8th, 1975. Keith David Crotwell, 19, from Long Beach. His severed head was found near the 72nd Street jetty in Long Beach. On October 18th, the rest of his body, except for his hands, were found near El Toro. They said that the cause of death was accidental drowning. This is the one that I thought was really odd, because they only found his head and they called it a drowning. Like, what the hell? And this was the one where he picked him and Kent May up and dropped off Kent May and then killed this guy.
I sent you the actual image of the scorecard if you want to go look at it.
I'm also not on Facebook anymore.
Oh, sorry. We can bring it up in here in a second. But we actually, I forgot that we actually have the image of the scorecard.
I have the image in here. I just don't want to scroll.
Yep.
Deodorant. He was called this because he had a heavy use of deodorant. July 29th, 1982, Robert Avila, 16, from Los Angeles. His body was found off of the Hollywood Freeway in Echo Park. Cause of death, strangulation.
This is the one that they're actually complaining about the smell of death. Remember? Wasn't it?
No, that's the next one.
Oh, wait, okay, sorry.
So, dog. July 29th, 1982, Raymond Davis. He was 13. He was the one looking for his dog in Echo Park. He was the one that they had complained about the smell.
Oh, you're right.
And cause of death was strangulation.
Teen trucker.
June 2nd, 1974, Malcolm Eugene Little from Selma, Alabama. He was actually 20. His body was found along Highway 86, west of the Salton Sea. Now, cause of death was strangulation, but he was emasculated prior. There was a tree branch jammed in his rectum, and his body was posed. So, Iowa, there was no connection made. 7th Street, July 28th, Ronnie Jean Weib, age 20. His body was found on 7th Street on-ramp to San Diego Freeway. His car was found with a flat tire parked at the Sportsman Bar in Los Alamitos. Cause of death was ligature strangulation. A sock was found inside his rectum. Suffered a fractured skull from repeatedly being hit in the head with a heavy object. Hung upside down while tortured.
Oh.
There were bite marks on his stomach and penis. He was redressed except for his shoes, and he was thrown from a moving vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
September 14th, 1979, Lakes MC. Gregory Wallace Jolly from Jacksonville, Florida. He was 20. His body was found in Lake Arrowhead. This is the one that was found in Lake Arrowhead. Cause of death unknown. He was emasculated and mutilated, and his head and legs were removed. MC Laguna. June 22nd, 1974, Roger E. Dickerson. 18. He was a Marine from Camp Pendleton. He was found at Laguna Beach. Cause was strangulation. Autopsy results: sodomized and mutilated. Genitals and left nipple had been bitten and chewed. Alcohol and diazepam were found in his system. He had planned to hitchhike to Los Angeles.
Oh, this one was found in 1995.
Yep. Golden Sales. Craig Victor Jonitis, 24. Address unknown. I don't know why it says that. Body found in a lot next to the Golden Sales Hotel and Bar on PCH in Long Beach.
It sat there until 1995.
His cause of death was strangulation. The body was fully clothed except for his socks. Euclid. This is the one near my house. April 16th, 1978. Scott Michael Hughes, 18-year-old Marine from Camp Pendleton. His body was found off the Euclid on-ramp eastbound to the Riverside Freeway in Anaheim. That was the 91. His cause of death was strangulation. He was emasculated. There was a lot of diazepam found in his system. The body had been redressed except for his shoelaces, which had been removed from his shoes and used to bind and choke him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what we got going on here. Wow.
Yeah, we got some comments.
Bob it on the loose!
Yeah.
How... So...
They suspected, I think, was 64,
He
65.
was only... No, 67.
67.
He was only charged with 16 murders.
But he also was not one to embellish his story. Like, I don't think he really talked about it too much. The actual cops suspect 67, so...
There were 67 murders, based on the scorecard, actually.
Yeah.
And, possibly more, actually. But there were only 16 that he was charged with. And
Yeah.
wow, everything got red in here.
I know. I'm sorry. I've been out in the sun a lot, and my skin
No, I'm not red, though.
Oh.
It's just how it is in here.
Yep, there we go. We got to fix the camera.
Again.
But my eyes are gray. Gray-blue. Yep. Oh. We got the scorecard. We got one portion of it.
Hold on a second. I figured I'd show you guys the scorecard.
Yeah, we're doing this. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be totally brutal.
Here's the scorecard. You can't really see it.
That's one
the
part
whole-
of it.
that's the
Oh,
whole
that's the
thing.
heart of it? Oh, okay.
That is the whole scorecard.
Oh, you're right.
And I don't know if that's blood at the bottom. Petroleum jelly, sock ass. Let's make puppets. Oh boy. Tom says he chewed on his own nipple once.
Okay. Good for you.
Hey!
Hello!
What's up?
Hello.
Nitro Goose.
Who's that?
One of the unranks.
Oh, that's right.
Well,
I forgot for a
soon
second.
to be.
Soon to be. Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
Has one name.
Merp.
Merp.
The puppet.
Okay.
All right, let's keep going.
We got a little bit to get through
I
here.
might have to be a little bit late to my walk. And that's okay.
We're halfway through.
So, woo! Hoth off head.
Okay, now he's just getting cheeky.
April 22nd, 1973, John Doe. The torso of an unidentified man was found in Alameda, or on Alameda Street and Henry Ford Street. The right leg was found on Terminal Island Freeway in Wilmington. Arms and torso and right leg found along a road in San Pedro. Head found near Redondo Avenue in Long Beach. Left leg found behind a bar called Bowie Shed in Sunset Beach. And hands were never located. Cause of death, strangulation. Not sure how they figured that one out. Emasculated and mutilated. He was definitely bound, and his eyelids had been removed.
Which, more than likely, his eyelids were removed while he
Yeah,
was alive.
that was one of his things that he liked to do.
Yeah.
2-in-1 hitch, no connection was ever made. 76, August 29th, 1979, unknown victim, John Doe. Body found in a dumpster at Union 76 Station and PCH in Long Beach.
This is one of those crazy ones where he named
Crazy, what?
The same was like, have you ever driven down like? Oh, we've all taken trips at night. You know, driving through a state or driving up and down the state and all sorts of stuff, going to where we're going, and we're driving down like the 5, and you see the rest stops, and you just see, you know, AM PM, the giant signs up and everything like that. But you don't see anything else around there, you know. And I know there's other stuff around in long and
You didn't finish your first sentence. This is.
I know
one
there's
of
a
the
lot
ones.
of. I'm saying it's weird because every time I drive by one of those rest stops, rest areas, gas stations when we're going on trips, that's the one thing I do think about. What's going on here? Is there a murder going on here? Is there something messed up going off on in the darkness over here?
I witnessed them finding that guy that was murdered over by the Chinatown buffet the other day.
This was actually, yeah.
Like maybe 2 or 3 days ago, I witnessed the cops finding a dead body.
The Bakersfield serial killer.
Yep. Well, actually, I'll get into that one later.
We'll go into
So,
it.
Big Sur, which, by the way, is a beautiful location.
Big Sur is gorgeous.
August 12th, 1974, Gary Wayne Cordova, 23, from Pasadena. His body was found down an embankment in Orange County, in South Orange County. It was he was hitchhiking to Oceanside, but he also talked about Big Sur quite often. Cause of death, acute intoxication. It was alcohol and diazepam. His body was dressed except for shoes and socks.
By the way, the trip up to Big Sur, up to 1, is
Great.
amazing. It's scary as hell. It's foggy. You okay?
Yeah.
Oh, it's foggy and it's like Murderville when you're going through that area. Oh my god. So, yeah. Okay.
So, Marine Head BP. February 18th, 1980. Mark Allen Marsh, 20. Marine from El Toro Marine Base. Body found in Los Angeles County off Templin Highway and I-5. He had told his friends that he was going to Buena Park. He was hitchhiking. Cause of death unknown. There was a large object shoved inside his rectum and his hands were cut off. And his head was too. Expletive deleted. Is it because his last name was Fuchs?
I don't know.
It's Paul Joseph Fuchs. 19 from Long Beach. Ha. Yeah, that's why he called it that.
Sounds like it.
He was last seen at Ripples on December 12th in 76. Front of Ripples. No connection. Come on. Somebody had to know someone that was missing from Ripples. Marine. Carson. June 19th, 1978. Richard Allen Keith, 20 years old, Marine from Camp Pendleton. Body found along Moulton Park between El Toro and La Paz roads. Cause of death is strangulation. New Year's Eve. Mark Howard Hall, 22, from Santa Ana. January 3rd, 1976. Body found in Bedford Peak at the east end of Santiago Canyon. Wow, that's near where I went to school. Went to high school. Cause of death, acute alcoholism and suffocation. Dirt had been packed into his trachea. Emasculated and mutilated. Several parts of his body, including eyelids, eyeballs, and genitals, had been burned with an automobile cigarette lighter. A plastic object had been jammed into his urethra, penetrating his bladder. Say something.
No, I haven't.
You sounded like you wanted to say something.
No, I'm just reading it.
Penis was removed and stuffed into his anus. Knife scrapes on the victim's legs. Westminster date. This was Jeffrey Bryan Sayer. He was 15 from Santa Ana. He was last seen leaving Westminster after his date with his girlfriend on a few days prior to him being found, which was November 24th, the day before, 1979. He had intended on taking the bus home, but the buses had all stopped running for the night. Jail out. Roland Gerald Young, 23. Body found in Irvine Center Drive near the San Diego Freeway. He was stabbed in the heart.
I don't think this was him.
That one doesn't seem right.
Mm-hmm.
No, they did say he did stab one.
Yeah, he did stab one, which was this one, but I don't think it was him. I think it was probably his accomplices.
Maybe. He was emasculated. He was redressed. He had just been released from Orange County Jail for a misdemeanor.
Or one of his suspected accomplices.
Yeah. So, Marine drunk overnight shorts. Okay. June 19th, 1979. Donnie Harold Crissell, 20. Marine from the Tustin base. Body found on the on-ramp of Irvine Center Drive to the San Diego Freeway. Cause of death, poisoned with alcohol and drugs.
Oh, this next one.
Burned on his left nipple with an automobile cigarette lighter. Ligature marks on neck and wrist.
This next one is actually personal to Jesus.
Carpenter?
The carpenter.
Well, there was no connection made. Torrance, September 30th, 1978. This was Richard A. Crosby. He was 20. Body found on Highway 83 in San Bernardino County. Cause of death, suffocation. Left nipple was burnt with a cigarette lighter. MC dump HB short. No connection.
That's a good rap album right there.
Apparently. 2-in-1 Beach, February 12th, 1983. Jeffrey Allen Nelson, 18, from Buena Park. Nelson's nude body was found on the Euclid on-ramp to the Garden Grove Freeway. Wow, this was kind of near me too. Cause of death, strangulation. Emasculated. Thrown from a moving vehicle. Also, Roger James Duvall Jr. from Buena Park as well. 20 years old. His body was found in a ravine in the Los Angeles National Forest. So that's coming up towards us.
Yep.
Cause of death was compression to the neck.
That does fit his MO, so he basically put his foot on his neck.
Yeah. Sodomized, redressed. Hollywood bus. August 20th, 1981. Christopher R. Williams, age 17. Body found in San Bernardino Mountains in San Bernardino County. Cause of death, pneumonia due to aspiration.
Wait, so did he have him for a little bit to have that happen to him, or?
I think this is the one where they found him somewhat alive.
Oh, okay.
And
they had to.
They took him to the hospital and he died? Or this is one of the ones. No. Autopsy result. Paper was found stuffed in his rectum. He was dressed except for his shoes, socks, and underwear.
But for them to say pneumonia due to aspiration. Well, actually, that could have been
probably
him throwing up while...
vomited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he OD'd is what happened.
Yeah. MCHB tattoo.
Again, man.
September 3rd, 1980. Robert Wyatt Loggins, 19, Marine from the Tustin base.
Where is he getting MC?
Marine Corps.
Oh, great.
Body found nude inside of a trash bag in an El Toro housing project. Cause of death was acute intoxication. Signs that a sock had been stuffed into his rectum.
Yep. Oxnard.
Oxnard, or as I call it, bull balls. There was no connection made to this one. Portland, ECK. Unknown name. The body was found off the I-5 in Woodburn. Cause of death, strangulation. Portland, Denver. This was Michael Sean O'Fallon. He was 17, from Colorado, but was in Portland. He was strangled to death, sodomized, and there was alcohol and diazepam in his bloodstream. Portland, blood.
This is the one that bled a lot.
This is the one that he bludgeoned to death.
Yeah.
And Michael Dwayne Cluck, 18. This was the bloodiest of all of the crime scenes.
Which is
Weird.
weird because considering what he did to a lot of these people.
He was sodomized and bludgeoned 31 times in the back of the head.
Yep.
Portland, Hawaii. Lance Trenton Tags. Not sure why they called him Hawaii. Oh, there we go. He called him Hawaii because of the Hawaiian print shirt that he was wearing. And it was actually found in Kraft's house. His body was found near Watsonville, Oregon. Cause of death unknown. Wilsonville. A sock was stuffed into his rectum and the body had been redressed.
See, do you see what we're saying here? Like, there is actually an MO here with what he does. On some of the victims where it's like stabbed to death or something else happens.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. He shoves things. Honestly, I'm actually starting to think it has nothing to do with him leaking everywhere because when they found him, when they actually caught him, they found so much blood underneath on the floorboard of his car. It didn't really matter. So what was funny? He was known as
Damn it.
Penis Anus after that.
Why does this blur out all the time?
No, but he
really did like sticking things up his victims' asses.
That's what it came down to. Because yesterday when we were talking about this with Ashley Watzel, who's in here, and I think it was Rebecca too, that it was a cause. It was means to, and it made sense for a second here. It was a means to keep them from leaking, but really, it has nothing to do with that. This is actually just him.
It was a whole
sadistic.
lot of
Because he didn't care about them leaking anywhere. If you, like I said, you look at the floorboard of his car when he was caught, blood everywhere, all excrement, everything, all on the floorboard. He did not give one damn about it.
Portland Reserve. This is Anthony Jose Silveira. He was 29. Body was found nude near Medford. Cause of death, strangulation. He was sodomized. Also found with a toothbrush shoved into a body cavity.
Which body cavity was that?
Probably the ass. Silveira had recently completed National Guard duty.
Oh.
He was hitchhiking to guard drill.
Well, he just got done. He was getting ready to move on, and he was having some fun hitchhiking and probably camping and doing stuff like that.
So, Portland, head.
Wow.
Brian Harold Witcher, 26. Body found on November 28th, 1982, near Interstate 5 in Wilsonville, Oregon. Cause of death unknown. Witcher was thrown from a moving vehicle. His body was fully clothed, except socks and shoes.
Yep.
No connection to the word head has been made. Maybe he got head from him. I don't know. I'm not.
Look at the next one.
Yeah.
Cousins.
Yeah, we mentioned that earlier.
No, I'm just saying it's still. I'm bringing it back up again. It's brutal.
GR2.
His cousin.
It wasn't his cousin.
Or they were cousins together.
They were cousins.
Right.
These are the guys that he had gone up to Oregon and he met them at the same work event that he was at, and he was seen talking to them in the hotel lobby. And this is the one where he murdered them, put them out in the field, and left the jacket from Silveira and left Christopher Schoenborn's keys in his hotel room. That's where I said he got sloppy.
Silveira was sad though. Well, that's the one where he was hiking, or he was hitchhiking, right?
Silveira,
that's really sad because he was
the National Guard guy.
He was literally just out having a good time, just making it to his next whatever.
So this was GR2 is Dennis Patrick Alt and Christopher Schoenborn, and the bodies were found in a field several miles from the hotel in Grand Rapids. This was in Michigan, by the way. They were. I said Oregon, but I meant this one was Michigan. But he was still on a business trip. Alt died from asphyxiation by choking. His body was clothed except for his genitals being exposed. His boots were also missing. Schoenborn died from strangulation. His body was nude and had a pin shoved up his urethra. Yeah, that's when he started escalating to shoving things in urethras.
Yes and no. He was actually doing stuff.
So MC Plants. Keep in mind, anytime he says MC, It's Marine Corps. He had a penchant for killing Marines for some reason.
Because Marines, out of more than anyone else, when they were on leave from base, they went out to the bars to get drunk, to find someone to fuck.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened, and that's the reason why he went after Marines more than anyone else.
So, SD Dope. Mikhail Lane from Modesto. Skeletal remains were found near Ramona in San Diego County. He had a history of using illegal drugs. Hike Out LB Boots. Keith Arthur Klingbeil from Everett, Washington. He was one of the 16 victims that he was actually found guilty of murdering. The body was found on the road of Interstate 4. I think that was 5, actually, not 4.
Yeah.
It's I-5 near La Paz exit near Mission Viejo. That's the 5. Cause of death, drug poisoning and strangulation. His left nipple was burned with the car lighter. He was thrown from a moving vehicle at high speeds. A boot lace was missing from his hiking boot, and a Long Beach matchbook was found in his pocket.
This is one of those ones where there was probably someone else out helping. Someone else helping him. I'm sorry.
England, no connection was made to this case.
Oil.
No connection was made either. Dart 405. Michael Joseph Inderbaten. Beaton? Whatever. 20 from Long Beach. The body was dumped during rush hour at 7th Street off-ramp intersection of San Diego Freeway and the 605 freeways.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You guys have to understand, rush hour in California
Long Beach especially.
Yeah.
Is crazy.
That means people rushed by and didn't do a damn thing about this.
Probably hit the body.
Yeah. Or he was probably on the most far right lane, but still, people saw him people saw whoever it was in that car push the body out, and no one stopped to help or say what was going on or whatnot.
This is actually one of the other 16 victims that he was actually found guilty of murdering. The body was dumped during rush hour. Cause of death, suffocation. He was sodomized. Scrotum and testicles had been removed. Penis appeared to have been skinned. The victim was alive during his emasculation. He was impaled with a large object in his rectum. And deep burns were made with a cigarette lighter found on his nipples. The body was nude except for his pants that were pulled down below the waist. And the last one on this list is What You Got. And that one was never solved as well. So Kraft was charged with 16 murders, 14 of which were connected through the list. He has always maintained that he was innocent and told investigators that the list referred to various gay relationships that he had been involved in, and it shouldn't be taken seriously.
By the way, Randy Kraft is still alive to this day. He is. I can't remember. I think it's San Quentin. I could be wrong.
Well, so.
Yeah, he is still alive on death row. California will not put him to death.
Okay, so basically, there was evidence. So much evidence. There was blood stains, hair fibers, more physical evidence than that. Knives found in his vehicle, garrots, ligatures, shoelaces, shoes found at the house, clothing items found at the house that were belonging to the victims. And these are all the things that were shown in trial. On April 29th, 1989, each side opened their closing arguments, which lasted a total of 3 days. The prosecution again listing all the physical and circumstantial evidence pointing to Kraft's guilt. The defense arguing as the circumstantial case was put forward by the prosecution that all the murders were linked and accusing the prosecution of glossing over the truth. Following the closing arguments, the jury deliberated for a total of 11 days before reaching their verdict. On May 12, 1989, Kraft was found guilty of 16 counts of murder, 1 count of sodomy, and 1 count of emasculation. On June 5th, 1989, the same jury reconvened to hear further testimony from the prosecution and defense as to the penalty for Kraft. This phase of Kraft's trial would last until August. It was at this point at which the prosecution introduced evidence of several additional homicides committed in both Oregon and Michigan, which they were certain Kraft had also committed, for which he had not been tried in Orange County. The defense dismissed the prosecution's assertions as being highly speculative and introduced testimony relating to a PET scan conducted on Kraft, which they asserted revealed abnormalities in his frontal lobe in his brain, therefore reducing his ability to control both his emotions and impulse, which we did a show on impulse control and frontal lobe damage if you guys want to check that out. You could probably find it a little bit easier on our YouTube.
The other notes actually I was looking at, the other stuff I was looking at, it was actually had to do with him when he was born.
Mm-hmm.
The forceps, when they pulled him out, he actually had major damage from that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's something that lends to frontal lobe damage
Yep.
too in a lot of people that around that time. So the prosecution rebuffed his testimony by stating to the jury there is nothing wrong with Mr. Kraft's mind other than he likes killing for sexual satisfaction, adding that the fact his family and friends had found it difficult to believe that he had committed any murders simply showed what a good salesman he is. On August 11th, 1989, the jury rendered the verdict of death. 3 months later, on November 29th, Judge McCartan formally sentenced Kraft to death. The sentence was upheld by California Supreme Court in August of 2000. As of March 21st, 2021, Kraft remains on death row in San Quentin. He continues to deny his guilt for any of the homicides.
Like I said, he didn't embellish his story one bit. He didn't even talk about it.
So,
this was all the police coming up with it saying, this was 61 murders here.
Here you go. Missing accomplice. Both circumstantial and DNA evidence relating to some of Kraft's murders have caused many to strongly suspect that not all the murders attributed to Kraft were committed by one person. The prosecution believed these inconsistencies could have been explained by the presence of an accomplice. It is contended that Kraft would have had difficulty moving around 200 pounds of 200-pound corpses. Dumping them from moving vehicles while alone would have been difficult to do unnoticed.
Exactly. He wasn't a big guy.
Hey, Dustin!
Hi, Dustin.
Was that what he also got kicked out of?
I'm not.
There was shoes and body parts missing, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Was that also what he got kicked out? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure.
Hey, Dustin!
Hi, Dustin.
Yeah. It ain't a joke here in Long Beach or LA.
It's insane what happens in rush hour. People are in the middle of traffic. They don't care. They've just been pissed, and that's that. MC Plants. Reminds me of Aqua Teen Hunger Force MCP Pants.
Yeah.
My backpack has jets. I'm Boba the Fett. I bounty hunt for Boba. But I fucked it up. Jabba the Hutt.
And that's DJ Chris. Or MC Chris.
MC Chris is also MCP Pants on Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
So, abrasions and debris found at some of the crime scenes where the bodies had been discarded upon or along freeways indicate that they had been discarded from vehicles traveling more than 50 miles per hour. And for one individual to perform this act without compromising his driving would be very difficult. Moreover, footprints in the sand close to where the body of John Laris was found at Sunset Beach unequivocally indicates that two people had carried his body where it was discarded. In the case of Eric Church, semen samples found in his body were consistent with Kraft's blood type, and while the photographs of the victims found in Kraft's car had to have been processed somewhere, no photo developer ever reported Kraft's morbid images to the police.
Yep.
And Kraft himself did not have a darkroom or any expertise in developing film. During the trial, members of the prosecution admitted privately that they did not charge Kraft in several murders that they were certain he had committed because of the facts relating to the cases which had indicated more than one perpetrator. Although DNA evidence found upon the body of Church was incompatible with Kraft, investigators had found photographs depicting Church in Kraft's car, and his distinctive electric razor was found in Kraft's house. That was in Morocco.
Now, this is also DNA evidence that they actually studied later on. This wasn't in the 70s or late 70s or 80s or anything like that. This is stuff they actually had on file.
This was in the 80s. They actually did.
I think it
look
was
at
like
it.
the late 80s.
No, this was during trial.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, Jeff Graves, his former lover. The prosecution believed that Kraft's former lover, Jeff Graves, may have assisted Kraft in several murders. This is what we talked about yesterday. Graves, who had lived with Kraft between 71 and 76 when 16 unknown murders attributed to Kraft occurred, had been questioned in relation to the Crotwell abduction and murder in 75 when he verified part of Kraft's statement to the police. When questioned further about the incident following Kraft's arrest in 83, Graves had informed investigators, I'm really not going to pay for it, you know. And he died of AIDS on July 27th, 1987.
Which is befitting. I'm sorry, it is.
At the time of his death, police had been prepared to question him further. Bob Jackson. In January 2000, journalist Dennis McDougall, the author of a 1991 book about Kraft entitled Angel of Darkness, published an article which recounted interviews with a small-time criminal named Bob Jackson, who reportedly confessed to murdering 2 hitchhikers with Kraft. One in Wyoming in 75 and another in Colorado in 76. Authorities in both Colorado and Wyoming were unable to corroborate the claims.
That's out of his range. That's not where he was killing.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because there's several that were never figured out.
That's true, but at the same time, he was literally it's where he was being sent for business, and mostly in California, and he was not sent for business to those places.
So Jackson also told McDougall that Kraft's scorecard included only his more memorable murders. In Jackson's opinion, Kraft's total body count stood closer to 100. McDougall reported these allegations to the police provided tape recordings of the interviews. Detectives interrogated Jackson and eventually persuaded him to enter a mental institution. No murder charges were filed against him due to an absence of direct incriminating evidence. Kraft sued McDougall and the publisher of Angel of Darkness in 93, seeking $62 million in damages. The suit contended that the book smeared his good name, unjustly portrayed him as a sick, twisted man, and destroyed his prospects for future employment by ruining his chances of overturning his conviction on appeal. The lawsuit was dismissed by the Supreme Court in California in 94.
Well,
yeah, his good name, sure.
Kraft still sits in San Quentin right now. He is still alive to this day.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your night. Schmeared.
Wait. Look at my teeth when I say that. Schmeared.
I'm sorry. Okay. So, thank you for joining us tonight. Have a wonderful night, guys.
See you guys later.
Bye.
We're out.
I don't know, set the world on fire. I don't know the baby in my heart.